problem of using music to learn Portuguese is that you might not like the music style, and that simply kills it. You're not going to learn anything. Pronunciation in a song is not quite representative of how people speak. Some syllables may be swallowed, yes, more than usual, while others may be stressed, all for the sake of rhythm. Let's face it, music does not exactly come in dialogue form. Thus, simulating the most wanted scenarios you're most likely to find yourself in when out and about in Portugal. You may very well want to say that you love pastéis de nata, but that doesn't teach you how to order a couple of them or more. That doesn't mean, however, you should ditch music altogether as material to start or improve your Portuguese. It only means you need to be a bit more strategic and think a bit outside of the box. And that's precisely why I'm here. I'm Catarina, creator of the language Unschool, a Portuguese polyglot who cannot sing. So whether you should trust me on this one, I leave it at your own discretion. I'll use a very famous song by António Zambujo called Pica do Sete. Now let's see how much we can learn from each line. I won't even dare to play the song in case, for reasons already mentioned, you don't like the style, you don't like the sound of his voice, but you can always double check it out later. One good tip here is that you Google Pica do Sete letra, and then you copy paste the lyrics into deep L to see the exact meaning of the lyrics to follow along this video. Okay, de manhã. It's probably very handy to be able to say in the morning, right? And notice that in English you would say in the morning, whereas in Portuguese we say of morning. Huge difference, something to note down. Now, cedinho, we have this ending inho, which is a bit more advanced. I talk about it in this video in more detail, the different uses of the diminutive, that's what it's called. So you can check it out later. I'll leave a link to the videos I'll mention throughout this one in the description. Here we have eu salto. Now, verbs we know that scare a lot of people when they start learning Portuguese because there's different variations. The same word that will change and evolve through time, past, future, conditional, and whatnot. Now, eu salto, I jump. Here we have proof that there is, as I always say, pattern in grammar. So the final O is an indication that it's an I talking. I jump, eu salto, and it's present tense. So then we have do ninho. Now here the do is actually a marriage of two words, de, but we tend to combine prepositions, it's called a preposition, like of in English, with definite articles, like the in English. Why is it do and not the? Because Portuguese has gender. Every noun, so chair, table, hair, weather, guitar, those are nouns. And nouns have a gender, not intrinsically, unless they're human beings or animals, right? I have a gender, a dog will have a gender, but a table does not have a gender, per se, intrinsically, but the word has. And that's what's interesting about Portuguese. So ninho is masculine, it ends with a no. That means do has to be masculine as well. Now, here we have an interesting thing. Vou pra paragem. Now, pra, if you're going to try to translate the word, if you have it open on DeepL, I don't think you will find the meaning because it's not a word in Portuguese. It's just something that in songs it happens a lot. Sometimes you will see an apostrophe in there. It's how we pronounce it, one way of pronouncing it. In this video, I talk more about that. So para becomes pra, paragem. So para, to, the, and this the is so feminine again. Why? Because it refers to paragem, the stop. And how do we know that paragem is feminine? I mean, it does not end with an A. That would be the sign that you know, okay, this is feminine. We assume that António Zambujo knows how to spell. He knows his grammar of his native language. So the pra, is proof that paragem is feminine. There is a pattern even that words ending in já will be feminine, but you never know. And that's why learning words in isolation is much harder than learning words in context. Bandelete à espera. À espera, here it's an exception, but it's actually an important one. And why would we start with an exception? Because à espera, waiting, is something we say all the time. Especially if you move to Portugal, you're going to be waiting for a lot of things. But anyway, literate means at the waiting. This is basically the present continuous. So in English, I am eating, I am talking, I am dreaming, I am sleeping. Now in Portuguese, that looks like estou a comer, estou a sonhar, except with the verbs to wait and to search for. Then we say, I am at the wait, I am at the search. So we use the noun, not the infinitive of the verb. E o meu peito cético. This is one of those basic mistakes people always use. In my free lesson, again, I'll leave a link in the description. I talk about this. We say the my breast, the my mouth, the my sun, the my chair. It sounds weird, but it's how we speak. And as I normally say, it's hard to hear that o meu, o meu. Stay tuned because there will be other examples to remind you of this rule. Here we have click and alicat, two words ending with an E. They're both nouns. So how do we know the gender? Normally, there is a rule you can sort of say that words ending in an E are feminine, but here it's not the case. How do we know? Because we have do click. Remember, we just had that before. And then we have the kill alicat. Now, if you're a bit more advanced in Portuguese, you would know that the kill of that, that aquele is the masculine form of that. So here we have an example for third person conjugation, and that means a he, a she, or it. So o peito cético toca. Now, toca, there are different kind of verbs in Portuguese. There's the three piglets, I like to call them. The verbs ending in AR, ER, or IR. Now, the ones in AR, they're used a lot in this song. And here you have an example of the breast. Now, o peito toca. Toca, you have, it ends with an A. That's a trait of verbs conjugating in that third person singular for AR verbs. In the very following line, you have two more examples. Descarrila, from the verb descarrilar, and refila, from refilar. Pois o mero trajeto nu. Now, this nu also involves two words in one. The marriage of words here, the preposition and a definite article. We had it with do earlier. Now it's nu. Nu is actually hiding, in a way, I plus u. So in or on, the. And it refers to something masculine. That's why we have u, nu, and not ne. It refers to caso. It ends with a no, so you know it's a masculine word. And remember, we talked about the my breast, the my chair, the my book. Well, here you have the my case, o meu caso. And then the word caso is described. So we have an adjective describing it, which is concreto. And concreto ends with an O. And this proves my point that gender affects everything in Portuguese. So the noun is masculine. How do we know? Because it ends with an O. So nu, meu, and concreto, all three words will have to be masculine because they all refer to caso. O meu coração, again, the my heart. Quando Sete me apanha, apanha ends with an A, so you know it's an AR verb, and it's third person. When someone catches me, apanha. To note that normally a verb would be apanha-me. However, because we have the word quando, that pronoun, the me, catches me, will come before the verb. Quando me apanha. It's much easier to pronounce. Quando me apanha. And this happens repeatedly too, except with other words. Que a senha me salta. Que me salta. So here's the que that forces the pronoun to come before the verb. Now, if you hadn't had enough, one more example. Mais nada me dá. Me dá because of nada. Nada me dá. Otherwise, it would be dam. Now, finally, two more examples that are a bit more advanced if you're further on with your Portuguese. The first one is pica. A pica que o pica do sete me dá. Now, we have pica used twice. What's going on here? Now, if you have been using DeepL only so far, perhaps it's time to swap to or add on to your list of resources infopedia.pt, because using a monolingual dictionary will show you the richness of the language. One word can have two genders. Depending on the gender, can have two different meanings. So I have a question for you. Which of the meanings here do you think are the correct ones for a pica and o pica? and let me know in the comments. Now, the second more advanced thing we can extract from this is lá. Such a simple word. It means there, but there's more to it. Vá-se lá saber. You will have the answer in that video, which you can watch next. Again, I'll leave the link in the description. So do you see how rich these lyrics are? I'll leave a link below so you can watch my free lesson and feel more prepared to learn European Portuguese, because it's not just about grammar and these rules and vocabulary. There's a lot more to it. It is about that, about listening, about speaking, and ultimately finding your voice in European Portuguese. That's what I can help you with. Obrigada por verem. Obrigada por me ouvirem. Não a cantar. Até a próxima.